So I just saw the new Quiet Place movie, Quiet Place 2, Quiet Hard with a Vengeance, and it was a movie. So, I really liked the first Quiet Place movie. It had a really unique premise with characters that you wouldn't normally get in a horror film, and I just enjoyed it a lot. I was afraid of getting a sequel to this. I was actually kind of disappointed when I heard that this movie was getting a sequel because horror movie sequels have a reputation of always being the worst thing in existence. But thankfully, I can tell you here, John Krasinski has directed a fantastic horror film that holds up to the original film in every single way. Starting off with the opening scene, this was amazing. It starts off on day one of the outbreak, and it's this terrifying, action-packed scene that had me gripping my seat. It was so freaking good. Everyone's acting performance just sells the kind of danger that they're in, and it's just so well made because every single thing that was happening, even if it's like a mundane thing like John Krasinski picking up oranges, I was just tense because I knew at any moment shit was gonna go down, and it was great. The first scene is like the best scene in the whole movie. Everyone's acting throughout the whole movie is fantastic. Of course, Emily, whatever her last name is, I should have looked this up before I did the review. Emily, you did a good job acting, and oh god, I don't know any of the actors' names. This review sucks. The actors did a great job. They really sold how much danger they were in. I like the fact that they had to communicate with their faces and expressions because they couldn't make noises. It really helped sell their performances. The cinematography was also awesome. We got a lot of fantastic point of view shots that I thought were used very effectively, especially when it cuts to the deaf character's point of view because all the sound just immediately cuts, and it was used in such an effective way that it actually scared me at times. The effects were also incredible. I was so afraid of them making the monsters be super cheesy in this movie, but they're not. I was afraid that now that we know everything there is to know about the monsters, that it would take away from some of the horror, and it kind of does, but the movie understands that, and they kind of go the Aliens route of there's not just one monster now that scares you. Now there's a bunch, and it's gonna be really action heavy. This movie's not as action heavy as Aliens, and Aliens is a much better movie, but you know, this seems very inspired by Aliens. There's also just this one section of the movie where a character gets injured, and I didn't see it coming at all, and the effects of this injury were so brutal and so well done that I screamed in the movie theater. I never do that. I'm the one that forces myself to be quiet and respectful to the people around me because I don't want to be that annoying guy who's watching the horror movie and is just outwardly reacting to everything. But the movie got me. It was just effective. It looked so real. I kind of felt a little bit of pain from it, just secondhand, but it was amazing. Also, the set design was fantastic. It really made me feel like I was watching like The Walking Dead, but like think Good Walking Dead, like when I was 12 and thought that show was good. It gave me those feelings. If A Quiet Place wants to make pretty good movies every few years that are kind of like episodic Walking Dead type things that are this good, I'll watch every single one of them. I'm enjoying these. They're great. As for negatives, I don't really have a lot to say in this department. Most things in the movie are either good or great, and that's a great thing. I really liked this movie. I don't have a lot to complain about it. I guess one of the complaints I have is that the first act is amazing, but the movie feels like each scene just gets a little less interesting than the one before it to me, to the point where in the last scene, I honestly think the last scene is the worst scene in the movie. The biggest issue I have with the movie is in that last scene, there's this one coincidence or convenience, I don't know what to call it, that is so inexcusably stupid that it really soured the ending for me. I was not a fan of this ending, and I would love to go into explaining why, but I don't want to spoil anything because this movie's new. So I won't. I guess I'll put it in the pinned comment. So if you want to go to the pinned comment and see the spoil thing, go to the pinned comment of this video. I'll put it there. But yeah, it was just this big dumb coincidence that I really took me out of the movie and soured it. Overall, this is a pretty solid horror movie that really blew away all my expectations. So I'm going to give this movie the same score that I gave the first movie, a 7 out of 10. Follow me on social media. Bye!